So guys, here we go, ready to start our international for this afternoon, Argentina versus England. We will introduce the teams. Umpires are the same, Ben Turner, Henry Fisher. 4 chukkers of ladies international polo coming right up. So we'll start with the visiting team first. Argentina playing in their familiar white and blue. We see so often sported on the football field. Much better at football than England. But starting then, the ladies international for 2021 at number 1, Olivia Hareche. At number 2, Catalina Lavinia. At number 3, Candelaria Fernandez Arajo. And at number 4, Leah Salvo. And then for England, for number 1, Beanie Bradley. At number 2, Kaylee Smith. At number 3, Millie Hine. And at the back on 10 goals, Hazel Jackson. As he said, the 2 umpires exactly the same, Henry Fisher, Ben Turner. They'll start throwing in front of us for the first 2 chukkers, and then on the far side for the second 2 chukkers. England starting with half a goal. Seems strange as the home team on an international. But anyway, we'll take it. Some lovely coloured helmets out there. Makes it easy for the commentator. England all in grey. 1 white. That'll be handy. Anyway, ball's thrown in. Picked up at the front by Olivia. Now picked up once again by Candelaria in the centre of the field. Leah fighting for it at the back. Loses out now to Beanie Bradley on the near side. Down the field she goes. Hard pressed by Olivia Hareche. Leah Salvo over the top of it she goes. Leaving it behind now is Hazel Jackson. Beaten to it by Fernandez Arajo. Fernandez Arajo beaten hard in the ride-off by Hazel Jackson. Leah Salvo comes in. Hazel fighting for it underneath. Leah Salvo is going to have to clear. Louder than the Apsley already, this. Leah Salvo, forward it goes, into the centre of the field. Looking for Olivia Hareche on the near side, up over the halfway line once. Switch to the offside now. Bit of time, 1 tap. Olivia looking to run round the number 4 of Millie Hine. Little tail backhand into space. Leah Salvo picks it up, drives down once towards the middle of the field. Up over the halfway line they go. Fernandez Arajo can't quite pick it up. Olivia Hareche also goes over the top of it. Hooked out of it by Hazel Jackson. Beanie Bradley and Millie Hine turn quickly, but it is still Fernandez Arajo inside 30 yards. 1, 2 taps. First goal on the board, no wide. So early pressure from Argentina. 1.5 minutes gone inside the first, and they're already threatening. Leah Salvo sporting bandages and numbness from Park Place, so look to her to be very well mounted as it's brought back in by Hazel Jackson. Hazel Jackson, long drive towards Millie Hine. Down the far side they go. Fernandez Arajo with a little tail backhand back into space. Picked up now by Lavinia. Lavinia inside 30 yards. Long drive is too long. Back towards the back line it goes. She'll take a check and it's going to run out and out of play. England will have the knock-in. So, off the back line goes Jackson. Hazel Jackson, 10 goals in ladies polo. Next shot into the horse, hits the horse, drops back now into the 40-yard line. Hazel Jackson under pressure from Lavinia. Lavinia turns back right round onto it, but she can't quite. Hazel Jackson still got control of the ball inside the 30. 1, 2 taps, loses out. Now it's Leah Salvo. Leah Salvo plays it under both horses. Hazel Jackson fighting hard to get back on terms with the ball, but it's still Leah Salvo. Millie Hine now with the ball under control. Takes it back to the centre of the field. Beanie Bradley. 1 drive across her own goal. It's a dangerous play. It's the first thing you're told not to do. Oh, open backhand missed by Argentina. Picked up by Lavinia. Lavinia inside 60 yards. Next shot from Jackson. Out towards the boards on the far side. Will it stay in play? Yes, it does. Hits the board. under control. Jackson looks for the next shot on the boards, but she's under pressure from two Argentina players, Leah Salvo and Catalavina. But it's Hazel Jackson. Hazel Jackson down the far side board. She's got a little bit of breathing room. Out in front goes Jackson. Open backhand from Argentina. Back towards Fernanda Zaracho. But it's Hazel Jackson with the bump on the boards on the far side. Takes control. Fernanda Zaracho loses out. And the whistle goes. They'll go forward for England. So England, they've been camped in their own half for the first half of the first jacket. They'll go out towards the centre, though, with a penalty 5B and have a chance to maybe launch an attack of their own. So back into play. Hazel Jackson from the halfway line. Takes 1-2 taps. Under pressure from Catalavina. Hazel Jackson goes around the outside of her. Up over the 60. Inside the 40. Up to the 30. Back in defence goes Leah Salvo. Leah Salvo with the next shot. Back towards her own back line. She's going to have to try and keep this one in. Leah Salvo does well to do that, but it's going to end up with Hazel Jackson. Hazel Jackson under pressure from Lavinia. Opts for the backhand straight back across the field. And it's going to be picked up by Hine. Hine loses out. Now it's going to be Fernanda Zaracho. Fernanda Zaracho can't quite pick up the pick. Drive in defence. Turns now is Leah Salvo. Little open backhand back into the goal mouth. Leah Salvo will watch this one out over the back line and take the knock-in. So, back into play from Fernanda Zaracho. Leah Salvo now takes it up over her own 60, looks down towards the halfway line, picks it up at speed. Hazel Jackson's coming in. Big bump between the two of them, comes off the cane of Salvo. Now Hazel Jackson takes a check, misses it on the near side. Horse kicks it left, it's like a pinball machine. Back in comes Hine, little open backhand out into space. Probably should have gone for the tail, but it's going to be picked up by Leah Salvo. Leah Salvo, beautiful tail backhand down towards Catalavina. Can she get the better of Hine? No, now here's Hine. Beautiful near side backhand, back into space. Finds her teammate in Jackson. Open backhand from Bradley. Into space for Fernanda Zaracho. Little open backhand back into space once again. Now Hine's got space. Beautiful hook of Olivia Haureche. Leaves it now for Hazel Jackson. Millie. Hine will look for space. No, takes the block on Catalavina. Now asks for the pass. Out to the left it goes in favor of Kaylee Smith. Kaylee Smith up over the halfway line. Under pressure from Salvo. Smith. On the boards on the far side. Loses out to Salvo Nail. Salvo. 9 goals. Leah Salvo with the ball under control for Argentina. Now loses out to Millie Hine. Millie Hine from the famous English polo family. Her brother's playing in the high goal this year with Thai polo. Little open backhand. Out into space. Picked up now by Millie Hine. Millie Hine. Round the outside she goes. Inside the 30. Millie Hine could be the first goal on the boards for England. Millie Hine opens the scoring for England. 1 goal to a half they go. Picked it up in space. Ran past 2. Finished inside 30 yards. Millie Hine, 1 to a half. 1 and a half, sorry. 1.5-0. England lead Argentina. Millie Hine changes. Hazel changes. Kaylee Smith changes slowly on the far side. Whistle goes. Righto, so teams back onto the field. Starting with a line out. Kaylee Smith's waiting there at the front. Candelaria and Fernanda Zarajo sporting that yellow helmet, made famous by our father Milo. As the ball's thrown in, it's going to be picked up at the front by Olivia Hareche. Beautiful tail backhand back into the centre of the field. I'm glad you hit it because I preempted the backhand, but of course it was on point. One now by Leah Salvo, now by Kaylee Smith. She'll try and turn it inside of Catalina Lavinia. Catalina Lavinia looking for the hook, but now picked up by Beanie Bradley. Beanie Bradley in space, but Fernanda Zarajo's back beautifully with a beautiful tail backhand back towards the boards. Leah Salvo turns quickly. She's the quickest to turn. Beautiful turn for the horse as well. Now she's out in space. 2-3 lengths advantage over her chasers. Catalavinia's got the break. Catalavinia on the break. On the near side goes Fernanda Zarajo. Little open backhand back into space. Now picked up by Hine. Hine back into space she goes. Hazel Jackson now out towards the near side boards. Hazel is going to need a good bounce if it's going to stay in play. It does stay in play. Leah Salvo back in defense. One tap from Hazel Jackson. 2 taps now. Looks down for some place, somebody to pass to. Into the centre of the field, up over the 60. First bell's gone. Ride-off's won by Millie Hine as she looks to get a nice open backhand towards goal. Doesn't come off that time. Leah Salvo will clear. Out towards the boards on the far side. Catalina Lavinia on the boards. Inside the 30-yard line. Whistle goes. Be interesting to see which way this goes. So it is in fact Chukka, ladies and gentlemen. 1.5-0. England are up. They'll be back for the second Chukka in just a moment. So the team's back out onto the field. As Leah Salvo takes one tap, looks downfield. Looks for the run of Araku. Going to be picked up now by Catalavinia. Catalavinia drives now up over the halfway line. Back in defence goes Kaylee Smith. Near side backhand doesn't quite come off, but it's going to fall now to Beanie Bradley. Beanie Bradley, little open backhand back towards, but only as far as Haureche. Hits the horse in front. It's now going to fall to Millie Hine. Whistle goes. So where are we going to go here? Going forward to a 40-yard penalty in favour of Argentina, as they look to open their account. Leah Salvo. For those of you joining us live on Polo Line, we've got Juan behind the camera. He's being very unbiased. Juan, what are you going to do if I put Leah off here? Boo! No, come on, England. Leah Salvo approaches the ball now, 40 yards out. Lovely strike. Leah Salvo opens the scoring for Argentina. 1 goal to 1.5. Ladies and gentlemen, England need your support. Let's hear your support for England. And your support for Argentina. Nice. Silence. We can hear Juan cheering in the van. The ball's thrown back in. Here it falls back at the back for Hazel Jackson. Leah Salvo fights with Jackson. Hazel on the near side. Can't quite pick it up. Fernanda Zarraco goes back in defence. Opens her shoulders. Cuts it out towards the boards on the far side. Hazel. She's going to get there first. Hazel, tail backhand, back into space. Hits the horse of Fernanda Zarraco. She'll bring it across the field, back into open space. Kaylee Smith comes in to shut her off. Fernanda Zarraco drives a short drive forward. Millie Hine will pick it, drives it back towards the commentary position in front of us here. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear some noise as they come towards us. Millie Hine back in defence, near side, back into space for Hazel Jackson. Turns beautifully. Out goes Hazel Jackson. She's free and clear if she can get a hold of it. Hits the horse in front. Leah Salvo. Under pressure from Hine. Hooked out of it is Hazel Jackson. Now she gets a clear break. Hazel up over to the 60. Horse kick forward for Leah. Back in defence goes Catalavinia. Under a pony's neck. Inside 60 yards. Takes a check. 1 tap. Onto the boards. Pressed hard by Hine. Hazel with the steal. Still Catalavinia. Hazel now drives it forward, but only as far as Fernanda Zarraco. Will she take it forward? Yes, she does. Across the field she goes. Up over the 60. Towards the boards on the far side. Hard pressed by Hine. Great hook by Millie Hine. But it's only as far as Catalavinia. Beautiful shot up towards the boards and out of play on the far side. This game's spinning real fast. It's going to be a spot hit for England. Taken by Hazel Jackson. Hazel won't waste any time with this. Takes 1 tap. Looks downfield. She's got Beanie Bradley free in space. Drives down now towards Beanie Bradley on the right-hand side. She'll take a check. Waits for Hazel to come in. Leah's got a stick in the air. Claims a foul. Gets a foul. Spot hit Argentina. So, spot hit to Argentina. Leah Salvo takes 1 tap. Next shot down towards Fernanda Zarraco, but she's actually looking further down the field for Lavinia, but it's a tail backhand from Bradley. Beautiful tail backhand from Beanie Bradley out into space on the far side. Leah Salvo back in defence. Ooh, whistle goes. There are 3 sticks raised in the air. 2 from Argentina, 1 from England. We'll see which way it goes. Looks like umpire Ben Turner is gesticulating towards Leah Salvo that it was a line in favour of England. Umpire Fisher goes forward towards the 60-yard line, and it is just that, a 60-yard penalty in favour of England. Millie Hine looks like the likely candidate to hit this one. I saw her out there practicing and hitting them beautifully before the game. So in fact, it's Hazel Jackson. Hazel Jackson takes a lovely big circle. Just going to get her horse nicely corrected. Fernanda Zaraco riding a lovely horse. It looks like it's from Edgeworth. The drive from Hazel Jackson, though, is stopped on the halfway at 30 yards by Olivia Hareche. Olivia loses out now to Hazel Jackson with strength, puts it wide to the right. So we're back underway. Argentina launching attack now. 3 Lea Salvo and Catalavigna. Down the far side boards they go. Back in defence goes England with Kaylee Smith. Near side backhand comes in. Picked up now by Hazel Jackson. Olivia Hareche is in there fighting too. Fernanda Zaraco waiting for the block. Back in defence goes Beanie Bradley with Lea Salvo. Beautiful neck shot from Catalavigna. Perfectly across the halfway line. She's going to pick up her own neck shot here. Can't quite get enough of it the second time round, but Lea Salvo will. Brings it out towards the commentary position, takes a check, and will go back to the centre of the field. Looks a big appeal from Hazel Jackson. Looked like she was about to hit the ball. But the whistle goes in favour of England. They'll go forward to the 60. For those people wanting to know the score from the Queen's Cup games, Scone beat King Power in the first quarter-final, 9-8. Monterosso beating White Crane in the second. I don't know the scoreline. 11-9 was the second score. 9-7 was the Scone King Power score. So White Crane and Scone and Monterosso go through. But here we're concerned with the international between England and Argentina. A free change, just allowing the Argentine side to change horses. A lot of them on rentals, which makes it doubly difficult and equally impressive that they're able to play as well as they are. Not because of the quality of the horses, but just when you don't know them, it's very hard to get on terms. You know, some of these horses, they might never have sat on them. It might be the first time they've ever seen them. Often difficult to get to know them. The English, obviously, all riding horses they know. I know Lea Salvo has played a lot with Park Place, so she should know her horses. But just something to factor in. Very impressive to see they're all out here playing so well, the Argentine side, and great to have such a competitive game in front of us. So Argentina then trailing by half a goal. 3 minutes left to play till half time. So play is called by umpire Fisher. Jackson, one short tap, under pressure from Lavinia. Drive down now towards Salvo. It's going to be Kaylee Smith that tries to get in there, picks it up inside 40 yards. 30 now, looks for an open backhand, trying to put it away from goal. But it's picked up by Argentina. They put it over their own back line. Whistle will go, and it will be a safety 60. So it's going to be a safety 60 for England as Hazel Jackson tees it up. One of our sponsors today, WR Construction. As Hazel Jackson takes a circle. Lovely drive down towards goal. Tries to be stopped by Fernanda Zaraco. Is going to find its way all the way through, but unfortunately for England, not on target. There might have been a touch. Was there? No, it is going to be a knock-in. A knock-in in favour of Argentina. So, Fernanda Zaraco, one drive out towards the right-hand side, hits the horse of Lavinia, bounces back into play for Jackson. Jackson, open backhand, trying to hit through horses, but it's going to hit the horse of Salvo. Little near side backhand from Leah Salvo. Picked up by Millie Hine. Millie Hine in space. Inside 30 yards. What a beautiful approach shot that is for Millie Hine. Fernanda Zarraco tries to clear and wide. Millie Hine set it up beautifully. Just didn't quite have the horse to get round Fernanda Zarraco. But it was a beautiful near side neck shot to set up the goal chance. But unfortunately, it is another knock-in in favour of Argentina. Leah Salvo. One tap. Up towards the 30. She's got Lavinia out to the right. Fernanda Zarraco also going right. Jauretche also going right. No options left for Argentina, so they're definitely going right. Leah Salvo hits the horse, takes one check. Hard pressed by Hazel Jackson. 9 and 10 goals going toe-to-toe here. Tail backhand from Beanie Bradley. Back into space. Only as far as Fernanda Zarraco. Little near side open backhand. In towards Leah Salvo. Picks it up just behind the saddle. Down towards Kaylee Smith. Near side backhand doesn't quite come off. Looks for the foul, Leah Salvo. Never going to get that. Not in a blue moon. Picked up by Millie Hine. Under her pony's neck. As far as Bradley. Bradley at speed. Picks it up on the bounce. But hooked beautifully by Fernanda Zarraco. Woo. Turned. Inside Millie Hine. Millie Hine. Open backhand. Into the goal mouth. Beautifully cleared by Leah Salvo. Out towards Olivia Jauretche. Up towards the 60 she goes. Kata, up in the air. She'll wait for it to bounce. Waits for it to settle. Can't quite pick it up. Beanie, beautiful near side backhand. Back down the boards. Leah Salvo's waiting for it. She picks it up. Will take it inside Millie Hine. Leah Salvo across the field. Millie Hine. Near side down the field. In towards Fernanda Zarraco. Beautiful clearing neck shot. Out towards the near side boards. There's plenty of hey-hey-heying going on, but it's going to be Leah Salvo that gets there first. Leah Salvo tries to turn on the boards, but it's Hazel Jackson now. Kata Lavinia's going to fight her tooth and nail for that one, but it is Hazel Jackson for England that comes away with it under pressure from Fernanda Zarraco. Now tries to play it forward. Hits the horse of Salvo. Salvo. Offside. Plays it inside Jackson. Does her beautifully on the outside. Now finds herself in open space. Leah Salvo. We saw Boric go end-to-end in the Apsley. Here's Leah Salvo trying to do the same. Not this time. First bell goes. Forward by Argentina. Leah Salvo still in space on the far side. Leah Salvo, one tap. Can't pick it up first time. Fernanda Zarraco on the near side. Can't pick it up. Now it's going to be picked up by Salvo, but she's facing the wrong way. She's got Lavinia to help her. England fighting there, trying to get back on control. Kaylee Smith, Hazel Jackson, takes it around the corner. Beanie Bradley out in front. She's going to be up against the clock here, though. Picks it up beautifully. Has she got time? Inside the 60, inside the 40, 30. Hazel Jackson to beat the clock. Goal for England. 2.5 goals to 1. Just beat the clock. And that'll bring us up to half-time. Ladies and gentlemen, if we could ask you to tread in, help us repair the field so we can enjoy another superb second half of ladies polo between England and Argentina. And we'll be back very shortly. So for those of us at home on Polo Line, you can see the score, 2.5 goals to 1 in favour of Fraser's England. Argentina, though, are hammering at the door of England, hoping to get back on board and back on terms with them after the break. So as you can see on the screen, 1.5 England got off to, they started with a half, got a goal in the first jugger. Argentina trying to claw back that deficit of a half goal. It can be so important if you've got that in your favour. But 2.5 goals to 1 at half time. Argentina have been hammering at the door of England. They just can't quite get the break. So as we get ready to start the second half, we will wait to see if they can get back on terms. So we're back underway. England, Argentina, chucker 3, ball's thrown in. It's going to be picked up straight away by Lavinia. Lavinia trying to go around the outside of Kaylee Smith. Bump between the two of them. She backs off. She knows she's fouled. She's trying to play an advantage. Lavinia can't quite bring it forward. Hazel Jackson now, tail backhand back into space, but it's only going to be as far as Leah Salvo. Leah Salvo cuts it out towards the 60-yard line. Big ride off from Hine. Millie Hine. Little open backhand. Doesn't come off that time. Beautifully picked up by Leah Salvo. Quick stick work. She'll look to take it inside Hine. Can't quite get there. Now it's going to be picked up by Millie Hine. Tail backhand back towards the boards. Olivia Haureche into space, but only as far as Beanie Bradley. She claims a foul. And Ben Turner agrees. Ben Turner's also changed horse. I swear he was riding a grey. But the whistle has gone in favour of England. So it is, in fact, going to be a 30-yard penalty in favour of Argentina. Leah Salvo teeing the ball up. Could be a big penalty this for Argentina. They'll take them back to just that half-goal deficit inside the first minute of the third chugger. Leah Salvo again on a horse from Park Place. Looks like she's fully mounted by them. A beautiful organisation and do a lot for English polo. Facu Pira is playing for them in the high goal, but it's Leah Salvo here today for Argentina. Lovely shot straight through the centre, makes no mistake. Leah Salvo, 2 goals to 2.5. Just that half-goal advantage splits the two teams now. Just got to see whether they are going back for a line-out. Just wondering whether it was a yellow card and starting with a 5B, but it will be, in fact, a line-out. So the ball's thrown in. Through to the back it goes. Hazel Jackson, near side backhand. Across the field she comes. Hazel Jackson, beautiful drive out around the outside of Leah Salvo, but look at the horse of Salvo stretch. Tries to take it forward on the near side, just does enough to take it away from Hazel Jackson. Catalavinia takes the hook of Beanie Bradley. Beautifully done in defence by Catalavinia. Picked it up once, twice. On the bounce she goes. Hazel Jackson, though, now keeps an eye on it. Ooh, it is going to fall for Haureche. No, it's not. It's Catalavinia that's going to come back round onto it. Big bump from Jackson. Came in at a huge angle there. Huge bump with Hine as well. The girls going hammer and tong. Olivia Haureche does a beautiful hook on Jackson. Turning quickly, though, is Fernanda Zaraco. Picked up beautifully by Kaylee Smith. Kaylee Smith out towards the near side, but Leah Salvo gets there first. Beautiful tail backhand. Lots of hey once again, but it's Lavinia. Round the outside of Hine. Ooh, looked like a sandwich between the two, but it's Hine. Beautiful open backhand into space. Hazel Jackson now in space. Can she go the long way around? Takes it back towards Fernanda Zaraca. Just showed a bit too much to her of it. Beanie Bradley takes it forward. Salvo on the near side. Comes through. Foul. Whistle goes. England, 60-yard penalty. A chance to extend their lead. So Millie Hine taking over the responsibility of the short penalties. 40-yard shot. Oh, stopped beautifully. Off right out of the middle of the stickhead by Fernanda Zaraco. Out to the right-hand side goes Leah Salvo. Look at this horse stretch. It's an early contender as well for best playing pony. Down the near side boards. Back in defence goes Hazel Jackson. Tail backhand back into the centre. Catalavinia picks it up beautifully in the centre of the field. Beautiful drive across towards the far board she goes. She's going to be able to pump the brakes here and turn and come inside Beanie Bradley. 1, 2 taps she does. Round the outside. Can't quite pick it up on the third bounce. Millie Hine. 1 tap from Leah Salvo. Shows too much of it to Millie Hine. Loses out. Millie and Leah played a lot of the ladies high goal together for Park Place, so they'll know each other. Today up against each other. But now we've got Salvo on the boards on the far side. Can't see what's happening. Hopefully England, I'm neutral. Argentina, they have the ball. Fernanda Zaraco turns it beautifully. Look at that for stick work. Now she'll have some space. Beanie Bradley needs to move. Otherwise the whistle will go. Now the advantage goes towards Argentina. Fernanda Zaraco puts the hammer down. Beautiful backhand behind. Beautiful backhand into space. Here goes Jackson at speed. Hooked out of it, but Beanie Bradley's there. Puts it forward to her number 4 once again. Hazel Jackson. Beanie Bradley combining beautifully inside 60 yards. Hazel, a beautiful approach shot, but beautifully taken out by Catalavinia. Clearing next shot, not quite far enough. Leah now clears out towards the near side boards. Hazel Jackson in space. Takes a check. Goes left. Leah Salvo with the block. Has to go back to the right-hand side. Leah going to win this one on the near side. Back down the boards looking for Olivia Hareche. Can't quite pick that one up, but now it's going to be Catalavinia. Catalavinia out in space. The field is running beautifully. 1, no bounce. Once again, tops it. Olivia Hareche's in space. Hazel Jackson back in defence. Little tap. Fernanda Zaraco. Back she comes. 1, 2 taps. Kaylee Smith in with the pressure. Beautiful approach shot by Fernanda Zaraco, but back in defence is Millie Hine. Tail backhand into space for Beanie Bradley. Fernanda Zaraco. 1, 2 taps. Will look to go around to the right-hand side under pressure from Bradley and Hazel Jackson. Olivia Hareche with a beautiful block on Hazel Jackson. Round the corner goes Fernanda Zaraco. What an open backhand that is. Into space for Olivia Hareche. Beautifully set up by Fernanda Zaraco. Wide. Beautiful team play by Argentina. Fernanda Zaraco and Catalavinia combining beautifully to put Olivia Hareche in on goal. But the whistle goes for a free change. There's 2.5 minutes to play inside the third chukker. Half a goal is the difference. So, all changed. It's an England knock-in. Hazel Jackson will gather the troops behind the goal. Two and a half minutes left to play of chukker number 3. Then we'll be down to the last chukker of play. England lead at the moment by half a goal, the slenderest of leads, as Hazel Jackson brings it back into play. 1 long drive up over the 60. Fernanda Zaraco looking for the open backhand, but now it's picked up by Hine. Up over the halfway line they go. Back in defence goes Fernanda Zaraco. Near side backhand. Picked up now by Leah Salvo. Ooh, whistle goes. Kaylee Smith might have been there before Leah Salvo went across. So it is going to be a penalty 4, 60-yard penalty in favour of England. Hazel Jackson will look to reinstate that 1.5 goal lead in favour of the women in white. England, let's hear a cheer for England, ladies and gentlemen. They need our help. Let's try and get back on board. Yes, Tamara. We'll have a chat with Tamara in just a couple of minutes as Kaylee Smith tees. Oh, it's Hazel Jackson teeing this one up for Millie Hine. A bit of a switch of roles here from 60 yards. As I said before the game, we saw Millie Hine hitting these beautifully for England. Pony looks lovely and comfortable. Millie winds up. A beautiful strike. What a strike that is. High and handsome and straight through the middle from Millie Hind. England 1.5 goals to the good up against Argentina. So back to the centre they go. Umpire Turner. 1.5 minutes to play in chukker number 3. The white of England. 1.5 up against the blue and white of Argentina. I can hear Juan screaming from the commentary box for Argentina, but it's Hazel Jackson up towards the 60. She goes. One long drive towards goal. It's down in the goal mold. Salvo back in defence, but Hazel Jackson gets the better of her, and it is wide. Just wide to the right. Leah Salvo doing just enough to get the better of Hazel Jackson inside the 30-yard line. So will be a knock-in. Fernanda Zarraca takes one tap. Across her own goal she goes. Looks out to the right-hand side where she's got Salvo. Salvo looking to make a little bit of space. Can't make the first block, so she's going to have to drive it forwards. Fernanda Zarraca, that might work out well for her because everyone had overcommitted. So she turns it back to the left-hand side. Now looks for the next shot. Out towards the balls on the far side. In goes Bradley. Bradley and Jackson. Both there together. Now goes Beanie Bradley out towards the boards on the far side. She's going to be beaten to it, though, by Argentina. On the boards for Argentina, Olivia Jauretche, Leah Salvo, but now it's Hazel Jackson. Hazel Jackson drives it down towards the centre of the field where it's Fernanda Zarraca and Beanie Bradley, called off it by Kaylee Smith. Beautiful neck shot. Goal for England. Kaylee Smith with a beautiful neck shot from 25 yards. 4.5 goals to 2. She'll go off to change. Kaylee Smith changing in the corner. The teams head back to the centre. It's not a free change, so she'll have to be quick because the boys will throw it in. Ben Smith will throw it. Ben Smith? Who's Ben Smith? Ben Turner will throw it in on the far side. Oh, and the whistle goes for the end of the third chukker. 4.5 goals to 2. So with the scores locked at 4.5 goals to 2 in favour of England, I'm joined in the commentary box here by Tamara Fox. T, we're seeing a good game in front of us. The field looks great. We're just having a chat about the Argentine and their horsepower. We see Leah Salvo mounted by Park Place. What about the horses from the other guys? They're doing very well. Cata Lavinia, I know, is mounted very, very well.
Yes, she is. I think Fabio Lavinia has been helping there to set her up. She's got some great horses and is going fantastic. And I am not looking forward to playing her in the ladies in the next few weeks.
And the English team, how much have these guys played together before? I know we see a lot of Hazel. She features very prominently in all polo. She's an unbelievable player. But how much would these girls have practiced together, played together before?
Well, Hazel and Millie play the Argentine Open together, so they would know how each other go, and they would play, I would think, quite a lot together, in the off season or in the Argentine season. But no, this team hasn't played together at all. There wasn't time for practice. This international was organised in 9 days, so there wasn't time for a practice, sadly. But I think they're doing really well together, and it seems to be flowing and going very well. So come on, England.
I see that they've sort of got a couple of goals back quickly at the beginning of the third chukkers. I know you and Nins are down there in the pony lines. Any words of wisdom, T?
Nina had many. I'm not sure I had so many, but we did have some words, and hopefully they can start playing and listening to each other as a team and creating some space, which is what we had suggested.
That's not what you just told me. You told me you need to get back down there because Nina's going to ruin things. You need to go and give some words of wisdom.
Rupert, you're giving away my secrets.
Right, T. Thank you very much. As the girls are coming back out for the fourth and final chukker of this international between Argentina and England. Argentina 2.5 goals down to England. As we see Leah there chatting to her troops. She'll be rallying them. The boys in the centre ready to throw the ball back in. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear some noise for England. They're 2.5 goals up. 1 chukker to play. That's no noise. Tamara, you make some noise.
Come on, England!
Thank you. Righto. Here we go then. 2.5 goals up. England, a 2.5 goal lead to protect. Argentina, 7 minutes to chase them down. The ball's thrown back in. Picked up at the back by Fernanda Zarraco. Plays it inside. Has space to move. Leah Salvo calls her off it. Now drives it forward towards Fernanda Zarraco. Trying to get the better of Hazel Jackson. Back in defence she goes. Onto the near side. Beautiful near side backhand, but only as far. No, it's picked up by Millie Hine. Beautifully anticipated by Hine. Out, up, over the halfway line on the far side. Back in defence goes Salvo. Now it's Fernanda Zarraco. Candy. Loses out to Beanie Bradley. Beanie Bradley down the far side board she goes. Up towards the 60. Beanie Bradley. Beautiful neck. Ooh, can't quite pick up the second neck shot. But it's going to be now Cata Lavinia. Cata Lavinia in the blue helmet for Argentina. To the left-hand side she goes. Plays it towards Leah Salvo. Leah Salvo now loses out to Hine. Picks her pocket. Inside 60 yards. This could be a very important goal for England. Drives it wide. Just tried to overhit that one a little bit, Millie. Hard to get that angle from that distance. Just overhit it a little bit and sent it wide, but it's brought back into play by Leah Salvo. Fernanda Zarraco on the offside. In goes Bradley. Bradley takes a check as Fernanda Zarraco plays it back inside. Now plays it out to the right-hand side looking for Salvo. Salvo up over the halfway line she goes. Long drive down towards Cata Lavinia. Argentina looking to mount an attack here through Lavinia. Lavinia up over the halfway line. Cata looks behind. Sees Kaylee Smith coming fast. Back into the 60 will go Cata Lavinia. Beautiful approach shot. Couldn't get much better, but back in defence is Hazel Jackson. Hazel Jackson for England. Open backhand. Back towards the boards. First one back is Cata Lavinia. She's everywhere, Cata Lavinia. Little open backhand towards Salvo. Salvo hooks Hine, but it's only as far as Jackson. Cata Lavinia once more. She's going forwards. Back in defence. Playing forward. Little tail backhand towards Fernanda Zarraco. Back towards Hareche. Olivia Hareche under her pony's neck. Across goes Bradley. Foul. Argentina. Forward. Penalty 4 is my guess. We'll see whether umpires Fisher and Turner agree. Fisher struggling to pick the ball up at the moment. But he's got it. They're off. They'll have a chat. All mic'd up, the umpires and third man these days. Ooh, just from the spot. Maybe he's done that to prove me wrong. So then, Argentina need to mount a counter-attack and need to mount one quickly. There's 5 minutes left to play. They trail by 2.5. Leah Salvo takes one tap out to the right-hand side. She's going to be challenged by Jackson. Leah Salvo drives it into the horse of Jackson. Falls short once more. Picked up by Hazel Jackson. Tail backhand doesn't come off. Turns fastest is Lavinia. Lavinia picks that one up straight away. Sticks in the air from England, but they were never going to get that one. Ball's going back across the field for Lavinia. She plays it inside Jackson. Now picked up by Leah Salvo. Leah Salvo topped by Salvo, but she's still got control of the ball. Now tries to pick it up again. Hazel Jackson lingering in front. It'll be a penalty in favour of Argentina. So it looks like a penalty 2 from 30 yards in favour of Argentina. Leah Salvo teeing this one up. Drives it straight, drives it true. 1 goal back, 1.5 goals the deficit, 4.5 goals to 3. So back to the centre they come. 4 minutes left to play. Argentina 3, England 4.5. Ball's thrown in. Back to Hazel Jackson. Lost out now to Leah Salvo. Hazel Jackson, though, once more, trying to get that goal back for England. Plays it forward. Fernanda Zarraco waits for her. Hazel Jackson can't quite pick it up. Leah Salvo misses it too. Now comes Kaylee Smith. She tops it. That's a dangerous place to leave it, though, because Leah Salvo will pounce. Now Leah Salvo's there. She needs some help going forward. Drives it out to the left-hand side. Fernandez Araujo is clear and free on this. She'll have to pick up the bouncing ball here. Takes a check, waits for it to bounce, settles beautifully. Can't quite pick it up. Catalavinia, 1, 2 taps. Beautifully picked up in front of Kaylee Smith. Hits the horse in front and will fall to Leah. Leah could just stick and ball this one in here. She's got a check in front. Fakes the shot. Shoots now towards Olivia Haureche. Next shot. It's going. Beautifully saved by Kaylee Smith. Kept in play. Whistle goes. Olivia fouls. Hazel Jackson spot England. Right then, the final free change. Spot hit in favour of England. Just off their own back line. As those of us on Polo Line see the players come back onto the field. Anna Groom from Park Place sending a voice note on WhatsApp in the background. So, here we go. Hazel Jackson. Back in front of her own goal, chatting to Millie Hine. Trying to make a plan of how to exit here well. Which way are they going to go? Back across her own goal, right-handed. In comes Catalavinia. Leah Salvo waits, drives it straight down the field, but looking for Beanie Bradley. Beanie Bradley, back in defence, goes Fernandez Araujo. Can't quite pick that one up. Leah Salvo takes it forward. Back goes Olivia Haureche. No, it's Catalavinia. Catalavinia trying to get the better of Jackson. Big block comes in from Leah Salvo. Back across the field, Olivia Haureche. Hooked out of it by Hazel Jackson. No, beautifully done by Olivia Haureche. 1, twice. Leah Salvo on the boards, under pressure from Millie Hine. Millie Hine wins that one on the offside. Now Leah Salvo is trying to put pressure on. She's going to stay there. Forward goes Fernandez Araujo. Open backhand, out towards the boards. Olivia Haureche waits. Big bump between the two of them. Foul. Whistle goes forward for England. This could be a very important foul for England, whether it goes forward or stays where it is. 2.5 minutes to play. A goal and a half. 2 goals needed in 2 minutes. It's always a big ask. But you should never count. I always remember, for those of us sort of Cirencester based, we'll remember Lockie Hunter, the Kiwi, always used to say you can go end to end in 18 seconds. So 18 seconds to play, there can still be a goal scored as Hazel Jackson loses out to Catalavinia. Catalavinia picks it up in space. Leah Salvo's there, misses one on the bounce. It's going to be picked up now by Kaylee Smith. Forward. Kaylee Smith goes back across the field towards the far side. Catalavinia goes on the near side. Goes to take it forward. Loses out now to Leah Salvo. I was about to say Milo Fernandez Araujo, but it was Candy Fernandez Araujo claims the line, gets the foul. Going across the field. Be lucky to go forward to a 4, so maybe just a spot penalty in favour of Argentina. We'll have to see. It is going to be a spot. So, spot penalty, Argentina. 2 minutes, 10 seconds possibly to score 2 goals. Very doable, and Leah Salvo's got that in her mind. 1 tap she takes. Hazel Jackson comes in. Leah Salvo will happily play it past Hazel Jackson. 10 goals out of the equation, but Millie Hines there back in defence for England. Hazel now does win that battle. Looking for the block. Candy Fernandez-Araco. Round the corner she goes. Hazel Jackson now, beautiful open backhand out towards Beanie Bradley. Beanie Bradley puts the hammer down, trying to get England out of trouble. Up towards the halfway line. Beanie Bradley opens her shoulder. Beautiful strike down the field, but Leah Salvo's back in defence. She'll bring it across the field towards us now in front of us. Let's cheer them as they come towards us, ladies and gentlemen. England trying to hold on for the win. Argentina trying to get some momentum back here in the fourth chukker. Fernandez-Araco will claim the foul. They're not going to get it. Little open backhand from Leah Salvo. Tries to get back onto her own backhand, but Kaylee Smith brings it forward. Hazel Jackson cools her off. Big bump from Olivia Hareche. On the boards, taken forward by Kata Lavinia. Lavinia loses out to Beanie Bradley out over the boards, and it'll be a spot hit to Argentina. Nearing the last minute of the fourth chukker. One tap from Salvo. Down towards Fernandez-Araco. Hazel Jackson takes the bump. Near side backhand doesn't come off. But Leah Salvo does have it. Down towards Olivia Hareche. Switches to the near side beautifully round Jackson. Down towards Lavinia now. Beautifully picked up by Kata Lavinia. Horse kicks it forwards and helps her out. Kaylee Smith's in front. Looking for a whistle as Kata Lavinia. Not going to get it though, but here comes Olivia Hareche on the near side. Once from Lavinia. Now goes Beanie Bradley, little open backhand. First to turn is Fernandez-Araco. She has it on the offside, plays it inside Jackson. Beautiful little open backhand from Leah Salvo. Pops up into the air. Beanie Bradley can't pick it up. Leah Salvo can. No, it's Millie Hine. Millie Hine will bring this away for England. This could win the game. Millie Hine up towards the halfway line she goes. Up over halfway. 20 seconds to play. Millie Hine takes one check. Knows she's probably done enough. Beanie Bradley to seal it for England. Inside 60 yards. Inside 30. Beanie Bradley hammers it home. England will win 5.5 goals to 3. A great game of polo between two great sides. A big thank you to Argentina. A great well done to England. If, ladies, we can have you for prize giving as soon as possible, that would be much appreciated. Argentina commiserations, but thank you very much and well played. And we will see you at prize giving.